Hello everybody and welcome, it's your boy Logic and we're coming back with a brand new battle. We have RuskiJim and the Dwarfs, Lunacy and the Wood Elves, and they both fought up on Esham. So this battle here took place during Battlemania Season 1 Week 1, so you can check that out here on the channel afterwards. So here today I had a little chat with RuskiJim and he said he wanted to go through the Dwarfs here and what they can bring up against the Wood Elves as he doesn't have too much experience with it. So I said here I'll do a little bit more of a battle analysis today. Rather than just showing the battle, I'll also go through some of the units and some ideas you might want to consider when using the Dwarfs here up against the Wood Elves. But Lunacy here does also bring quite a good army, so I'll go through both armies very quickly with all of the units and then I'll talk about some things here that you should think about. So just on the front line, I'm going to have some Way Watchers along with some Wood Scouts. We're also going to have 2 units of Clay Guard with Starfire Shafts in the back. Also going to be having the ROR Stag Knights, a Waystalker coming in with the Arrows of Kurnos, that's 600 meter range. Going to take out artillery. Going to also having the Spellsing Hero of Life coming in with the Earthblood, a unit of War Dancers, and the Sisters of Twilight. They're going to be coming in here, about 2.8k value, coming in with the Eagle Quiver, that's a 400 meter range there, Magic Missile. Conjoined Destiny coming in with that regeneration. Also we had a Fire Whilst Moving. Talon Dusk, and also coming in with their anti-large shot as well. That's the army here for the Wood Elves. We'll have a little bit more of a discussion about that in a moment. Also for the front line, we're going to be having 4 units of Dwarf Warriors and the ROR Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, 4 units of Dragon Slayers and the ROR Dragonback Slayers here. So 5 units of Slayers in total and 4 units of Rangers here in the back, alongside 2 units of Grudge Throwers. We're also going to be having Grombrindle here coming in. So Grombrindle is going to be coming in with Foe Seeker and also going to be coming in with Grombrindle Has No Fear. So this is where the discussion is going to start. So with Grombrindle, he needs to be having Flash Bomb in my personal opinion. I think Flash Bomb makes Grombrindle here probably the best Lord pick for the Dwarfs, period. Considering the new update. Considering he's unbreakable, he also has Flash Bomb. Allows him to stop units that can charge into the front line. And he's just such a good melee combatant as well. Considering he's unbreakable, he's very good up against other Lords. He can also get caught out, but he's always going to get good value, unless obviously he gets sniped. But, you know, let's say you have a unit of Stag Knights jump into the front line, you pop his Smoke Bomb, negative 72% speed, you should be able to hop onto that, pop Foe Seeker, you should be able to catch, get straight onto them, use his magic damage to do some good stuff, but we'll talk about that in a moment. And obviously Grombrindle Has No Fear, is that unbreakable and plus 24 melee defense for all units in a 55 meter radius, which is actually very large. But I think Flash Bomb here is very useful. The only other thing you need to consider is a Rune Lord, a Rune Smith, and the Rune of Wrath and Ruin. Now this is very good here because that also gives the negative 72% speed, but we will jump through that in a moment. So let's break down the army here coming from the Wood Elves and discuss it here today. So the Way Watchers here and the Wood Scouts coming in with 180 range for the Wood Scouts and 190 for the Way Watchers. So that outdoes any sort of the range coming in from 160 from the Rangers. These guys also all having Stalk and Armor Piercing, lots of it coming in from the Way Watchers. So these guys are going to be very good up against anything coming in the Dowie roster. So they need to be taken care of relatively quickly. But also with Stalk, it's going to be difficult to find them and then get onto them. We're also going to be having the Waystalker. He's also going to be coming through with Stalk. He's also going to be very good at taking out heroes and lords. He's also going to come through with 407 missile strength and armor piercing as well, 190 range, but he does have magic damage on his missiles. So consider the Dwarves have a 25% magic resistance as a base stat. That's a 25% reduction there on the missile strength. But he's still going to be very good. All of these units here having Stalk are going to be quite the pain. The only difference here is the Clay Guard don't have, so the Starfire Shafts here don't have Stalk. So you can catch these guys. They have 170 range, but they also do fire damage and they also do armor piercing. These guys I think used to do magic damage, but they don't anymore since the update, so making these guys just a little bit more viable. But some units in the Dowie roster, including the ROR Iron Drakes, they have 70% fire resistance, so you just have to be careful up against those units. So this is quite difficult here to deal with these sort of units. If you just bring Quarrelers or Thunderers, they're just going to get outshot by these guys and they can't shoot back at them until they're in range. And even if they're in range, doesn't mean that they can see them. I think you have to get relatively close. I'm not entirely sure the actual distance of how close you have to be. Maybe somebody can drop a comment on that, but obviously having Stalk is very viable here. So a good thing up to counter against these guys is exactly what RuskiJim has brought, which is Bugman Rangers or Rangers. So Rangers are very good coming in with their Stalk. They also have 160 range. So these guys are only 525 each. So 5 units of these is actually not too bad. 4 units, 3 units, any units you bring here, I think 4 is perfectly fine just to counter up against these units because the Way Watchers aren't going to be able to outshoot them particularly because they're still not also going to be able to see them. And when they do come in range and start shooting each other, the Rangers here have a bronze shield which negates 35% missiles coming in, so that'll be arrows coming in, and also other sorts of gunfire, so gunpowder as well. That doesn't count for artillery. And also they have more armor. These guys have 40 armor, whilst only 15 armor coming in from the very elite Way Watchers for 1.2k, only 15 armor for the Deepwoods, only 15 armor for the Glade Guard, and only 15 armor here for the 40 armor for the Waystalker, I apologize. So only 15 armor coming in for most of this. So actually, funny enough, for 525, these Rangers should do relatively well up against those. So a pretty good counter coming in there. So if you're expecting a hard sort of ranged-based faction coming in for the Wood Elves up against you, 5 units of Rangers isn't a bad pick. And the other advantage of taking Bugman Rangers is they also have regeneration. Coming in with liquid fortification with the Bugman's Beer allows them to, or the Bugman's Brew, I'm not sure which it is, but it allows them to also have regeneration as well. So should trade even more effectively here up against the Way Watchers. But obviously these are 525, whilst the Bugman Rangers obviously going to cost 800. So you won't be able to take as many, but there's some things to consider. So here, this is a massive pain for the Dwarfs, which is the ROR Great Stag Knights. These guys are ethereal. And what that means is that they have that basically means they're undead, and they have a base stat of 75% physical resistance up against the Dwarfs. Now, why is this a problem? It's because only 4 units here in the entire Dowry roster cause magic damage. So you have High King Thorgrim, so the big king himself, he has magic damage. Grombrindle, Gotrek, and the Peak Gate Guard. Only 4 of those units there. They're the only 4 in the entire Dowry roster that cause magic damage. Peak Gate Guard costs 1,450, so 1,450 gold to pay for these guys, and Waystalkers are very good at taking them out. If you can protect them using the Rangers, so for example, if they come in, you have 5 units of Rangers, 2 on each and the other one on the other one. Also, you may be using 2 Callans to take out the third unit, because I don't think you can bring any more than 3 units of, I think 3 units of Waystalkers is the most you can bring. You should be able to effectively take them out. So you could use them as a good bait, and they're also a good counter here up against the Great Stag Knights, but they are risky. If you're not able to do that, they can take care of that unit relatively quickly. Also, the Waystalker is going to be very good as well. He's just going to be able to take out a very, very expensive units using his ammunition. He does have 30 ammunition. It's not loads considering he's a hero, but it's enough, and it's good at sniping out heroes as well. And even Grombrindle to that fact. Yes, he has 125 armor, and he does have magic missiles, but he'll still do some good damage here up against Grombrindle for sure. So that's why these guys are a bit of a pain. They also have 90 speed, they cause terror, they have all sorts of other awesome abilities. They're also going to be coming in with Frenzy, also going to be coming in with Strider, so they're not affected by like trees, and they're not affected by sort of terrain, also because they're Wood Elves as well. So there's lots of tricky stuff here to do with these guys. They're immune to psychology. They also have a good Vanguard deployment, which is quite sneaky, so you can also get these guys in the side as well. So the only real thing to deal with, you've only got 1 unit, and otherwise it's 2 Lords and a Hero. The only stuff that you can obviously take them down in other ways, but it's a little bit more difficult. You have to hunt through that 75% physical resistance. So that's something you have to consider there. The other great thing, and sort of the reason I like the Sisters in this pick, is the fact that they've got 110 speed. The fastest thing you've got in the Dowry roster is the Gyrocopters. These guys have 105 speed at max, which means not only does she outspeed them, she can also fire whilst moving, which the Gyrocopters cannot do, which means not only can she kite them, she can also shoot them at the same time. So it's a little bit harsh there for those. Also, she has the bonus of slide, and she also has the shotgun shot. So not only that, she can just use a shotgun shot here, just to bang straight into the Gyrocopters with her armor piercing and under sundering, but it makes that quite difficult. So that's some of the analysis here for the Wood Elves and some things you need to consider about. The other thing you also need to talk about is fire damage. So if they do bring front line, such as any sort of trees, so that's Dryads, Treekin, maybe a hero like Durfu or a Tree Man, fire damage does an extra 25% damage up against those units. So things like the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass that have fire damage are very good up against Dryads. Not only the anti-infantry and bonus versus infantry, the fire damage gives an extra 25% on top of that. So, and also they cause magic damage, so you can also get a 25% protection up against their melee attack as well. So that's why this unit is very good and a must pick in my opinion. I think it's just tremendously good in this matchup, just in case anybody does bring Dryads. Very rare to see. Somebody did bring it up against me in my WWC match, so maybe I'll cast that so you guys can see that as well, or maybe put these 2 videos together and analyze that. I think here as well, Dwarf Warrior is good, nice and cheap frontline. I probably would have gone cheaper For the same cost, you could have had 3 units of miners, and they pretty much would have done the same job. All they're going to be doing is shooting into cheaper miners and more of them, wasting more ammunition, getting even less value. Like, the more you can have and the better you can surround, the better. And if they're just shooting cheap miners, then you're laughing, because the Weight Watchers don't have particularly too much ammunition. Only 22 coming in for the Deep Woods, and 23 coming in for the Weight Watchers. 22 also coming in from the Glade Guard. Yes, there is 7 units here, but yeah, it's difficult. Like, if they're just shooting 5 units, they're not shooting into your Slayers, and then they're also not shooting into your Rangers, and your Rangers should be able to trade relatively effectively. Yeah, and another thing to discuss also is Slayers. Slayers are a fantastic pick because they also are able to catch most of these units. The only thing they can't catch is the Waystalkers. So all 3 these units can move and shoot at the same time, which makes these guys very, very strong. But Weight Watchers have 40 speed, 38 from the Deep Woods, and 36 here coming in from the Glade Guard. So they can catch Glade Guard pretty easily. They will catch Deep Woods eventually, but they pretty much won't catch Weight Watchers. Even if they do hit a unit, once the attack animation is done, these guys will have another gap again, and they're just as fast. So it's also very difficult to catch these guys. And they've got very good accuracy, so even when shooting backwards with that negative accuracy, they're still going to hit relatively well. So Slayers are a good pick so they can catch up, but also it's good to, like, it pretty much, like, also good up against cavalry units. And if you're able to get some of, like, a Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin, or you're able to get a Flash Bomb on, these guys can quickly move in and destroy cavalry, and such and such. Another little touch on here is I probably wouldn't bring Grudge Throwers. I think Cannons better in all matchups, simply because Cannons have a good, very fast, accurate fire. They're also good with their bonus size large. So, for example, you'll see a little bit later on the Sisters of Twilight come around over here. Because there's no Master Rune here, or there's no normal Rune of Wrath and Ruin, or nothing to slow her down, she can just simply kite these Rangers in the back. And if you'd had a Rune of Wrath and Ruin, you just slow her down, shoot her with the cannons, shoot her with a couple of Rangers, and she goes down relatively quickly, only 50 armor. And you can do the same here with the Great Stag Knights. They have massive hitboxes, and I'm pretty sure that the cannons go through, they just negate that 75%, so they just hit pretty hard anyway. I mean, there's only 24 models. It's relatively easy to take these guys down as well. The cannon shots also having, you know, say you come through with 2 cannons, that's 6 cannon shots going through. You could take these guys out relatively quickly. Problem with the Wrath and Ruin as well, they're not going to get away. You can also shoot them here using the Rangers. You can also pop on them with Grom Brindle, maybe pop on them with the Peak Gate Guard if you hide them here in the forest and protect them. You know, you've got lots and lots of stuff here. You can also slow them down using the Dragonback Slayers and all the other Slayers you've got, you know, coming in with the bonus as large, anti-large. So you've got lots of different options there. So there's just some other things you need to think about. So I'd always think about magic damage, stalk, and fire damage when you're coming up against the Wood Elves. They're just 3 things that I would think about. But we'll pop into the battle here and we'll just see what happens and see what can happen. And this is, unfortunately for RuskiJim, he does unfortunately fall into the trap here that a Lunacy did set for him. So we're just going with a little bit of a skip for the moments. They're just a little bit slow. So you can see he's just going to be shooting the front line. What might have been better here if we pause it? What might have been better is to have the Rangers on the front line, because they wouldn't have been able to see. These guys would have moved forward. As you can see, look how close they have to be here just to be able to see the Waystalker. They have to be very, very close. If you'd had the visible units, which are coming in here with the Dwarf Warriors and the Slayers at the back, and you had the Rangers at the front, when these guys start becoming visible, then they have to start fighting the Rangers. And then the Rangers can just simply take down the Way Watchers. You know, if you focus fire here, 2 units of Rangers onto the Waystalkers, you can take them out pretty quickly. Yes, they'll take a lot of fire back considering there's more units of them, but it also means then you have lots less to chase. And then once you're engaged in fire, you can start chasing them. You should be able to get lots of damage here. As you're going to be able to see, as these guys start chasing forward, they're not going to get too much value here. And the cannons here, although the Grudge Throwers do well, the cannons will also be able to fire through multiple models. So as you can see, you're going to start seeing the Sisters of Twilight come around the back. The reason why Lunacy is able to do this is because he knows there is nothing can catch him. There's no gyrocopters, and I think gyrocopters are good here as well. If we pause it again, gyrocopters we had to come forward, and let's say we had a unit of Way Watchers over here vanguarded. I don't think they have Vanguard. I don't think so. Oh no, they do have Vanguard. So if they were Vanguard over here, you can have a unit of gyrocopters come over here and just scout out the area. If you saw them shooting, you can make them visible and then get 3 units shooting straight onto them. You know, it just gives you that ability. Obviously, they're also going to be able to shoot back up against the gyrocopters, but you'll also get an effective trade there. Also, gyrocopters are like a very fast unit here for the Dwarfs and good at chasing off units. So if you do break a unit of Way Watchers, just chase them off with a unit of Brimstone Guns or just a unit of normal gyrocopters. Pretty effective there. Also, the Sisters of Twilight here are shooting up against gyrocopters. It's good value for you. She's just chasing gyrocopters all game. So you can see you're going to be having the Sisters of Twilight here just shooting in the back of the Rangers. There's nothing to protect them. What he should have done here now is perhaps if he'd had 2 cannons shooting here up into the Sisters of Twilight. Massive hitbox here on her a beautiful eagle, I must admit. It's a fantastic looking eagle. But yeah, shoot into the big hitbox here. Get the Rangers here shooting into her. Only 50 armor. She would have gone down relatively quickly. Also would have hit her leadership very well. As you see at the end of the battle, she actually has a massive impact on this. Considering her mobility, 110 speed, and the mobility coming in from the Stag Knights, they're two things that you need to focus down here as the Dwarfs, because then you simply only got to focus on the range. Only 42 speed coming in for the Waystalker. As you can see, he can sit relatively late. He's going to be kiting here into Grombrindle, but he's done no damage really. Maybe doing about 300 damage into Grombrindle, maybe a little bit more, but not really too much. So the Slayers will be catching here. As you can see, look, as you can just see here, they're not quite going to be catching up. We'll skip this one just with a double skip here, but as you can see, she can simply just take out each unit here, one at a time. And as you can see, we have the Stag Knights coming over here, hopping straight here onto a unit of Rangers. We do have the Dwarf Warriors here inside, trying to get some good damage onto them, but they just have 90 speed. They just have nothing to slow these guys down and keep them tamed. Yes, there's going to be some damage, but they still have 24 models, and they can do what they want. And as you can see, we're just going to be having the sisters here, just slowly taking apart the Rangers, breaking them. They have to go away, then they have to come back. He knows they're a big threat. He knows they're pretty much the only threat here coming up against the Weight Watchers. Nothing else can catch them. And even if they do, you've got the War Dancers here, 46 speed. These guys can come in and intercept them. And if there's any Slayers, they're just going to chomp through the Slayers. Yes, they've got no armor themselves, but neither do the Slayers. And they have bonus versus infantry, anti-infantry. So they're just going to win very easily in combat. Dwarf Warriors, only 28 speed. They're really not going to catch. Grombrindle has 32. If he does pop Foe Seeker, he does get 40 speed. So he will do relatively well, but he's still not going to catch Weight Watchers. So and the thing I like from RuskiJim, a nice good pin in this corner. But as you see, even though these Weight Watchers look pinned, they're really not. You'll see what happens here. We'll just have a nice little skip on, just as we had quite a bit of analysis here. He's also going to have to move both of his fast units into here. And as we see, we'll pause it here. You'll think that they're caught here, but he's able just to bring them into corner, continuously kite them, and he'll still get away here. So the Weight Watchers have been very damaged, and you'll see they will be able to run away here from the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. So they do manage to catch on, but you see there's lots of micro coming in here from both players, so there will be some mistakes coming in. But the looks like the Dragonman Slayers have been pushed off of the Grudge Throwers. I did like keeping them on there. That was a good move from Rusky. I actually don't like him moving them off. Reason being now is that they're unprotected. As you can see, already coming in with 35 kills and coming in with 23 kills. So some good value coming in there. But as you can see, the Slayers here still were not able to catch the Weight Watchers, because once they've done that once they've used their attack ammunition here, they're going to be getting into the back of these, and it slows them down for a small period, and then they have to catch up again. But they can't catch up because they have the same speed. Sister's still going around and just going to be kiting Grombrindle at this point. He's down to 3.8k. He's also a threat. He's a massive threat here up against the Knights. If he does get onto these, every single punch he does do will pretty much destroy model. And they still have maximum models here. As you can see, each model will have taken a good amount of damage. As you see, you're probably going to get a good charge. I mean, they're not going to get slowed down by the Slayers. I'd like to see them charge into some of these units, but charging it up against the Dwarf Warriors, not too bad a target, I'll be honest. These units here have been shot up against the Rangers. So as you can see, they did use the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass to push them into the Rangers, where the Rangers shot them. As you can see, the Weight Watchers here are going to struggle. Over here on the right side, we do have 3 units here on top of each other. I really do not like to see this, simply because all 3 units can be shot by the same spread of fire. We want these spread out nice and wide, just so that each one of them has to target each one individually, whilst all 3 can shoot all 3 units here in one go. So just a little lapse in mistake there from Rusky, but I'm sure that's something he can learn from. And coming through here, the Stag Knights, still very healthy, 24 models. They can just... we do have the Dragonbat Slayers here. They are trying to protect the Waystalker. He does have 42 speed. 40 speed coming in here, so if he does get caught, that slow will come into effect. Is he going to get caught is the question. Oh, he has gone in. Oh, that's a mistake. So it looks like he has got caught. That slow will be coming in very, very soon. I'm surprised that slow hasn't gone off. So it looks like he is really down the leadership. Is he going to get caught? So the charge bonus should allow him to get caught. Is that going to come through with the slow? Yes, so 27 speed now. So that's where the slow comes into effect. He's now slower than Dragonback Slayers. That's where these guys are key in this matchup. So over on the right, we do have the Dwarf Warriors. They have been pinned in by the slot. They really don't stand a chance. And all the Dwarf Warriors here are spread apart, with the Great Stag Knights here just going all over the Grudge Cannons here. So the Grudge Throwers here really just not going to stand a chance up against the Great Stag Knights, unfortunately. That's why, unfortunately, moving the Dragonback Slayers here was not quite a mistake, because you do need to get them involved as well. He was pretty much put here in between a rock and a hard place. You know, you need them involved, but you also need to protect them up against the Grudge Throwers. try and get them here to try and see if you can protect them up against the Great Stag Knights. They got 90 speed and Strider. They're just so difficult to deal with. Another good target here would also be the Life Singer here. Just simply because she can just heal all the models. So once you've done damage, just heal them up and just try and get as maximum value from them as possible. But also, she only has 34 speed. Having her on foot is a little bit difficult. You could have caught her here using Grombrindle, maybe some Slayers. Getting rid of her would have been a good target just to negate that healing. So I think that's would have been the 3 targets for me. Get rid of the Sisters, get rid of the Knights, and then get rid of the healing. They would always be the 3 targets for me, and then focus on the range. As you can see here, how she uses Sister Twilight to hop onto the other Grudge Thrower. So some very good play coming in from Lunacy. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what he planned for, and he's kind of executing it here to perfection. Rusky is doing the absolute best he can considering the army he brought. It's very difficult for the Dwarfs. They are so slow, unfortunately, and coming up against an army like this is so difficult. We're just going to move this on here. So you can see up here, we are going to be having a little bit of a battle up in this corner. Some of the ammunition now really running out here for the Wood Elves, and this is where it becomes difficult. They will eventually run out of ammo, but they've kited so much, they're definitely going to be getting their value. So we do have Grombrindle, he will be coming through, and this is where it would have been perfect. As you can see here, he's in range of these units. If he pots a Flash Bomb, he should be able to slow down quite a few units. Be able to hop onto them, so he's going to hop onto them anyway, but these guys can just simply walk and kite away, and he can just throw his other Deepwood Scouts in. I don't know why he hasn't done that yet, but these guys have no ammunition. Just get them fighting up and then start shooting the Clay Guard again, and that is the difficulty. So it looks like we're going to be having, what have we got here? So the Dragonfire Pass coming up against the Knights here. Knights to 24 models. So in the middle here there is going to be a pocket, so it looks like healing's gone down. That seems to be it for now. So it looks like the Clay Guard have been broken. So the Wave Watchers are going to be coming in. Grombrindle has no fear, has been popped, and he's absolutely demolished the Sisters of Twilight here. As you can see, she's taking quite a bit of damage coming in there. We're just going to skip on here just a little bit more just to go through it. So obviously the Stag Knight's going to come in. Stag Knights take a little bit of damage here, and they are starting to lose models. So you can see down to 21 models here up against Grombrindle. Pretty much Grombrindle hitting down a model per time, just showing how powerful he really is up against these Stag Knights. Stag Knights are really weak up against Grombrindle. It looks like the Spell Singer is going to be in there. The shield also really go down to him as well. Some good charging coming in here for the Stag Knights. Pretty much only the Dragonback Slayers, Dwarf Warriors, and Grombrindle left. And you can see he is going to be trying to chase. And now we have this Waystalker. You're going to see, Waystalker is no joke. Oh, look at that damage. Waystalker coming in, 55 melee attack, 45 melee defense. But with only 40 armor, Grombrindle is going to absolutely have his way with him. Look at that. Look at that damage coming in on the Waystalker. Waystalker will break here as well, just because he's losing that battle. Even though the Barrow Planets are so far ahead, Grombrindle absolutely slaps this guy. Just showing how powerful he really is. And if you're able to get him to the right places at the right time, as you can see now, the Stag Knights haven't lost a single model all game. They're now down to how many models? 16 models already. Just fantastic work coming in from Grombrindle. So Grombrindle now brought them down to 15 models. Grombrindle single-handedly has taken down 9 models coming in for the Great Stag Knights. Just showing how much of a counter he is. So Fotiga being popped here, just coming up against all of these units. He will eventually go down here, only those Slayers left. We can pretty much just skip this on and you'll see he'll get some more value here. Great Stag Knights coming in, 14 models left now. I think that's pretty much it. Grombrindle will go down just to the mass attrition here. So what a fantastic game there, guys. Really well played by Rusky. He really tried, but obviously Lunacy coming in with the perfect plan and executing that to perfection. So well played to him and a good victory from him. So I think there's just a few things that could have been changed. I think maybe changing out the Dwarf Warrior for some miners. A little bit wider, a little bit cheaper, and a little bit more for these guys to shoot. I think they're also, maybe they're a little bit faster, or maybe they're the same speed. I'm not entirely sure. I think they might be 30 speed. But I also like the Dragonfire Pass units, very good there. I like the Dragonback Slayers, that's good as well. Maybe some more Rangers, maybe some cannons. Definitely need a Flash Bomb. You could also maybe take into account a Rune Lord, or you could take into account a Runesmith. I definitely would prefer to take, I think, Grombrindle alongside a Runesmith with Rune of Wrath and Ruin. That means you have the magic damage and the slow, and then the extra slow coming in from Grombrindle. Because even if you take 2 Runesmiths, you can't have 2 Runes of Wrath and Ruin, because then that would be breaking the rules. But I also like the Rangers coming in here. 3 units of Rangers, very good at dealing with Way Watchers here. You can also take other things to account, gyrocopters as well with Brimstones coming with the fire damage. It's also good up against the front line if you do bring some trees. Also, like, I have seen Durfu played in this. I'm not a big fan of the Durfu pick. I actually kind of like this army. It's not too bad. It does really well here up against an army build like this. But well played to both players. I hope you guys enjoyed this match and the analysis going on. Please leave a thumbs up if you did. I really appreciate it. Also, it just shows me that you enjoyed this particular video. Also, leave a comment, guys. I always enjoy reading your comments. Maybe your comments on how you feel about this video in particular that I'm bringing forward for you today on the analysis side of things. And maybe also some analysis from yourself, some things you could consider. Maybe some stuff I didn't contribute here. Maybe some other things that you thought about in your time playing on either the Wood Elf side or maybe the Dwarf side. And guys, if you are still enjoying all the stuff that I'm bringing here on the channel, maybe think about subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps me and raise the YouTube channel. And down in the description below, I will be leaving my Discord so you guys can join that, where we have discussions about the videos coming out, the multiplayer scene with all the tournaments that I'm bringing forward here with Battlemania, and also you guys can drop in all your videos there like so I can go through some of the stuff on my YouTube channel and maybe bring some light to some of the games that you've done. I'm also going to be leaving Battlemania Season 1 Week 2. You'll be able to have the sign up page there so you guys can see who signed up, or maybe even sign up yourself and come play. Absolutely everybody is welcome. We're doing a brand new point system for Season 1. So for those after the 4 weeks of Season 1, the top 8 players with the most points will be going through to the Battlemania Invitational, playing for prizes. It should be really awesome fun. I hope to see as many of you there as possible. Other than that, guys, take care of yourselves during these very difficult times, and I will see you in the next video.